Hi everyone, this is Dane Dormio, and today I'd like to talk with you about freeform Qigong. And what I mean by freeform Qigong is any kind of movement where you are engaging the three regulations, observing the non-exertion principle and the pleasure principle, and developing the six qualities without following any specific predefined form or pattern. So with freeform Qigong, you're just allowing movement to arise naturally and spontaneously in the moment and following whatever the impulses or expression of your body happens to be, while engaging the three regulations: body regulation, breath regulation, mind regulation, observing the non-exertion principle and the pleasure principle, and developing the six qualities: structure, equilibrium, sensitivity, spontaneity, smoothness or fluidity, and body unity. So there are lots of different types of Qigong patterns and postures that have been handed down from the ancient masters over the ages, that have been written down in books, that are taught by teachers in classes. And these are specific tools that have specific functions or purposes, and they are an important part of the learning process. However, they're not all of the learning process. Progressing in Qigong is not just a matter of memorizing specific movements to do a specific way, a specific number of times, etc. But the movements and the forms and the patterns are more appropriately understood as tools for developing the internal awareness for spontaneous natural movement. So practicing patterns and postures is an important part of ongoing development, and practicing freeform Qigong is also an ongoing component of development. So they're not mutually exclusive, they're complementary. When practicing freeform Qigong, the single most important principle to keep in mind is the principle of allowing rather than doing. If you have a specific form or pattern or technique in mind, then you have a conscious intention of what you want your body to do, and you direct the body with that conscious intention. And you can be engaging all three regulations and all six qualities, including spontaneity, while you're doing this and moving with the quality of non-volitional movement. But freeform Qigong has no preconceived intention of how to move. And the movement that arises will be whatever the natural expression of your body is in that moment. So the most important thing, the key aspect of this practice, is turning off the intentional direction of the body's movement and turning the awareness on to allowing the natural, spontaneous movement to arise. So there's really not a lot to demonstrate with this, because it takes on whatever form it takes on in any given moment for any given person. But what I can point out is a few of the common features and specific examples of engaging the principles and the three regulations while moving spontaneously. So just to point out a few things you may be observing already, moving in accordance or engaging the three regulations means that we're engaging body regulation, breath regulation, mind regulation, the same way we would be with any part of our Qigong practice. And the breath is the primary source of the movement, so the breath comes first. The breath, in a sense, directs the movement of the body. All the elements of body regulation, posture, equilibrium, structure, are maintained in whatever configuration or whatever way you might be moving. You're moving so that you consistently and constantly have structure, so that you're in equilibrium, so that you have alignment with gravity. When the arms float up, they float up in the way that we've discussed in other videos, as if they're hanging in alignment with gravity. The shoulders remain dropped, the chest remains open, the spine remains vertical, the hip remains level. The hips remain level. So all of the elements of body regulation and the 6 principles are continuously being observed. The speed of this movement is one thing that will vary along with the shape of the movement. So at times your body may spontaneously want to go faster, at times it may spontaneously want to go slower. As long as you are keeping your focus on the 3 regulations, the 6 qualities, and the principle of allowing rather than doing, allowing the natural, the momentary impulse of the body to express itself rather than consciously directing with the mind, with a conscious intention and control. One of the main benefits of this type of practice is that it allows the body to spontaneously balance and come to equilibrium, balance all the energetic elements within itself. So if you have a regular practice where you do that's very fixed and rigid, you do exactly the same thing, exactly the same way each time, that's actually counterproductive long term to have a practice that's that inflexible, because your body's state and needs will be different on each day and in each moment. And even if you are focusing on the body, focusing on the breath, engaging mind regulation, preserving structure, equilibrium, fluidity, body unity, while you're doing this, it's still forcing the body into a rigid pattern, which isn't allowing it to adapt and express and actually harmonize and balance the energies within it. So in all of your practice, it's good for it to not be too rigid, for it to not be too inflexible, for it to have to be mindful with any practice that you're doing of allowing things to flow naturally and adapting to your limits, following the 70% rule based on the state of your body at the particular moment. So it's much more valuable and beneficial to feel into the practice that your body is wanting to do than to impose a strict, rigid regimen externally. So in your daily practice, some amount of concentration on a specific pattern, a specific posture, or even a specific sequence or a form is a beneficial thing to have, and free-form Qigong is also a beneficial thing to have on a daily basis, some mixture of both of those components, as well as an overall approach that's flexible and adaptable and spontaneous in the sense of being allowed to arise in the moment and be what it naturally is, rather than being forced or driven by external constraints or intentions. So I hope that this information is useful to you. I hope that you're able to incorporate these principles into your practice and work and play and experiment with these principles and the practice of freeform Qigong, and bring that same sense of spontaneity within parameters to your practice in general and to your daily life. So thank you for joining me today, and thank you for joining me on this lifelong mind-body mastery journey. I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.